transformation, what the mystics knew and were not afraid of: death. Death is not a painful thing. It does not change anything from the moral and mental nature of man. It's simply from one world to another, and the only thing people lose is their physical body. At death, therefore, the materials we had borrowed return to earth, while the rest of existence remains unchanged. And this is how you enter the astral plane, except for spiritually evolved people who cross this plane by vision or dream, reaching the higher planes according to their degree of evolution. The entity remains in the astral for most of its post-mortem experience, and as this soul continues to retain her sense organs, seeing her ambitions, her efforts, her failures, her enmities, her hates and her loves. Her entire life unfolds before her like a panorama. The departure of man from the ethereal duality results in the departure of his soul, which returns to the heavenly life. The astral body of man, then, is transformed into a set of 7 layers, where one is on top of the other, and there the man remains imprisoned until they are dissolved and he is redeemed. If then the individual has developed spiritual life and subdued his passions, he will pass through the astral world consciously or in vision and remain a little according to his degree of evolution. If it is a child, it will be protected and sleep peacefully until the time it would normally end with natural life. If a man has not given up earthly things, he is still immersed in his interests and feels that someone is pushing him to do his best to influence his affairs. He's bound to his passions but deprived of the organs of energy. No one can hide their impure thoughts and brutality here. Participation and desire play an important role in every act, but let's consider the suggestions of the space. First, this is where all the garbage of the earth is. Their forms often visit the earth in order to end their hatreds, their passions, and their insatiable revenge. This, to me, sounds like hauntings or ghosts or poltergeist activity, right? Demonic entities. Now, they visit low vibrational spaces and occupy people's bodies, driving them into debauchery and madness. Well, there you go, demonic entities. Second, the matter here is the same as most people's material objects. Most of the souls here are of awakened consciousness. Many prolong their stay out of a desire to communicate with the earth for their earthly interests. The third and fourth subdivisions are roughly the ethers of the second. The fifth subdivision is starry and radiant, and this field being the purely etherical. And from there, the guiding spirits of several mediums satisfy their personal pleasures and ambitions. The sixth plane is similar to the fifth, except that here the souls are more evolved and are at the end of the decay of their last soul sheath. The seventh and last level of wrapping is inhabited by souls of intellectuals, scientists. They stay here for a long time in huge libraries, fascinated by the wealth of knowledge they acquire. Of these souls, sooner or later, the shells break and the soul is freed, loses consciousness of its surroundings for a while, and then wakes up in the heavenly world, which is also its true nature. Our spiritual image is formed at these levels after the energy we have gathered from our offering throughout the course of our successive births. Of course, I don't believe in this. I'm just telling you this. This is what some spiritualists and occultists believe. This image of us has colors, sounds, vibrations that coordinate our appearance of the karmic board to receive the instruction enveloped for our descent to earth. The offering of ours will evolve man himself and lead him to the spiritual worlds. And thus we are called here on earth to raise our colors and our vibration with our works and actions. For this, and only for this, each person will be accountable before the karmic commission after the expulsion of his carnal carrier, and that is, if and to what extent the entity offered to serve the universal life into itself. Control of the emotional world is the cause of successive incarnations on earth, where the karmic responsibilities are washed away, and it is the greatest initiation of the evolving human divine being. Apart from all this, and what I would like to emphasize is the funeral rites should be governed by thought forms of peace, love, with wishes for shortening the process of the astral space and the dissolution of the wrappings, which keep the soul imprisoned for centuries. That's why when souls are at rest, their loved ones do bad service to their great regret. For the thought forms emitted by loved ones disturb the peace of the soul, forcing it violently to return to earth instead of departing and the soul redeemed. The very nature of the soul is I am presence that God bestowed upon man when he descended into the material world. Man, with his continued lives on earth, tries to get in touch with I am in order to find the way returning to the Father's house. Again, I don't agree with this. We only have one life. Then there is a partial judgment, and at the second coming of Christ, he comes as the judge for the final judgment. And this, we have to know what these people that believe in reincarnation think, and astral planes thinks. That's why I'm reading this to you. It's important to note that daily meditation brings us skill in the mechanism of releasing the forces and their magnetization, which play a dominant role, but also the constant communication with the I am presence. In other words, practice makes perfect. Atoning of karmic responsibilities and mastery over lower self are the basic prerequisites for ascension. Never forget this: ascension is man's supreme effort to enter the higher realms, and the soul is released from earthly bonds and cyclical rebirths. The sole purpose of Jesus Christ was to teach the world about ascension. Of course, the ascension cannot be easy for the everyday person, although Jesus himself taught that you can do works like mine and even greater. Okay, of course, you have to know the doctrine of Christianity, and there's only one life. There's not reincarnations. This I've translated from a Greek article. Please leave your comments, and thank you for your support. Kindly support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support, and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.